All right, so check out the beautiful fall foliage that's brightening landscapes across the country, from the aspens in Colorado, Utah, and across the Rockies to the maples really redding up in the Northeast and Midwest.
And leaf peeping, checking out that fall color, Chris, on a blue sky day is tough to beat. A huge thrill for so many. But really, it's the cloudy and rainy and sometimes stormy days that at some point is needed to help produce the color we see in the trees.
And it can shorten the length of how long-lasting these colors can last.
So let's get into it right now and ask some of those questions. What effect does the weather, the storms, does it help, does it hurt? The whole deal here. We can get into that right now.
Yeah, I want to bring in Kyle Kautner with the Foliage Report. First off, Kyle, your weekly report tracks fall foliage as it changes throughout the U.S. But when it comes to fall colors, it's not just the weather during autumn, but you got to kind of look beforehand, especially in the summer, to get optimal conditions.
First off, thank you for having me today. It's great to join the Chris's here on the Weather Channel. But you're absolutely correct. Storms from the previous summer can have great impact on fall color.
Now, what are you watching in the months leading up to fall, or are you, to kind of see and kind of guess how the season may go? What gets you excited in the weather, the months leading up, and what kind of gives you a little bit of pause?
Well, we can just look to evidence such as places like Vermont. So Vermont had a lot of storms this past summer, a lot of rainfall that continued into September. And I'm seeing a huge impact within the Vermont area because of that. So while I may be excited for, hey, we have to have the right amount of rain, I don't want too much rain because that will actually hurt the colors and hurt the trees. It's funny, if they have too much rain, fungus will start growing on the tree and the leaves, which is obviously an issue because the leaves will just turn brown and drop early, which is what we're actually seeing in Vermont, sadly.
You know, okay, so New England, one of the delayed areas that maybe is a little past what you would expect for this time of year. What other parts of the country have seen impacts because of weather and even drought?
Oh, well, you bring up drought, which is a great topic to bring up. If you're thinking about places in like Minnesota, this past summer, Minnesota, Wisconsin, the upper Midwest area had terrible drought conditions, and that absolutely impacted the fall color. What that does is the trees need this moisture, and when they're not getting as much moisture, they're going to take the moisture from the leaves, which will cause the leaves to turn very quickly and then just drop, which is what I've seen in parts of Wisconsin and Minnesota this year.
So if it was like a menu, like a, however many courses you need to order, what kind of weather would you order and when would you order it for the best color?
Oh, if I'm looking at a menu at a restaurant for fall color, I need warm days and cool nights with the right amount of sunshine. But if I'm going to be going to leaf peep, yeah, sunshine, blue skies are great. But if you really want to check out the vibrant colors, a good cloud cover is sometimes a good thing because you can see the vibrant colors much easier.
You know, so we talked a lot about the weather beforehand, how storms can impact the color and the display. Let's talk about during peak performance, when the colors are at their most vibrant. If you bring in a pretty big storm system, how does that impact how long these colors may last?
Oh, it absolutely will impact because so a huge storm comes in. The winds from that storm are going to knock off the leaves, which will obviously hurt the trees, but also hurt the leaf peeping season, which is very important for the local economies in New England area and the Midwest. And even out west, you mentioned out west, the golden aspens of Colorado, New Mexico. I mean, they're fantastic colors, but I will say the West has been a great season so far. I'm going to give it an all-star rating, to be honest with you.
Ooh. I can attest because I was just out there and the colors, they were amazing. I mean, they were beautiful.
All right, so
all-star.
Yeah, it's a good spot, great spot to check out the color. So people that are new to it, whether it's the science or just anything about the fall color, people that are new into leaf peeping, what's one of your favorite things to share with them that maybe gets them to kind of lighten up or kind of gives them a little spark in their eye?
Well, I don't want to get into the science too much because to quote Billy Madison, chlorophyll, more like borophyll. But what I like to talk about mostly, it's just the feeling that autumn and the fall season brings. It's a warmth. It's just a changing of seasons. You're so sick of the heat from the previous summer that it just brings in such a warm feeling that obviously people love to enjoy to go check out the leaves.
Kyle, we got about a minute, and we know there are spots that are past peak, but we still are well within the peak performance of fall here across the country. In some areas, still a couple weeks away from the best color. What is going to be your best spot for the optimal fall conditions? Obviously, the West got all-star rating, but what would you personally pick?
Right now, if I'm looking at the Blue Ridge Mountains out in North Carolina, currently Grandfather Mountain out there is at peak, and it is fantastic color. But if we wanted to talk about some other fantastic spots right now, think about actually Santa Fe, New Mexico. Those golden aspens are looking great right now. Flagstaff, Arizona, it's currently in peak, but give it a few days, it'll be in past peak. Duluth, Minnesota, even though they had some drought conditions, Duluth is still looking good to me. Northern PA, Scranton should be good. And yeah, so that's if I was talking about the place to go right now, those would be the places. Going forward in the week, I would say about Seattle area, so Pacific Northwest.
Sounds like a road trip to be had. Kyle Cotner with the Foliage Report.